Hi, everybody, and welcome to our second Mission Impossible trading topics. Is that what we called it? To our Tuesday night call. We're excited to have you. We're going to talk tonight about our awesome compensation plan, go over some of the basics, and then talk about what makes it different from other compensation plans out there and how to explain it to people who are interested in learning more about it. So I'm going to go ahead and let John get started tonight.
All right. Welcome. So probably everybody at some point has started to hear, or you're a seasoned veteran when it comes to the compensation plan. So like Kathy said, we're not going to touch on every tiny little detail of it, but rather than focus on just kind of the big picture of where the majority of the compensation plan is kind of constructed to reward you for your efforts. And at the same time, just kind of clear up a couple things. Like I posted in the comments on Kathy's post this morning that just in the last week, I've heard that there is some confusion from a couple people, both new and older and ambassadors. And so I wanted to make sure that everybody is kind of on the same page and kind of clear up any confusion when it comes to that. And then she'll talk, like she said, a little bit about what makes it different, and we'll go Q&A and hopefully answer a lot of the questions. So basically, three main focal points of our compensation plan. Number one is your ability to be compensated for your customers' orders, which is huge. I was reminded of this last month. Financials were posted today. So if you haven't seen them, your financial statement from last month to go over the compensation should be posted in your back office now. But it was a very rough month for me from a customer standpoint. In January, I had 4 different customers that either canceled their order or just postponed it last month, which really made my PV take a hit. And so even though my points went up last month overall, and we'll talk about points in a minute, my check actually went down a tiny bit last month. And it was because of my PV. My PV is the lowest it has been in probably a year. So guess what I'm focusing on this month and moving forward is to try to get my PV back up with my customers. So,
which is also important for the convention contest. If you're working on getting to convention, as we've said before, having customers and PV, which is your personal volume, high is key to winning some of those prizes, like getting your convention ticket reimbursed and travel voucher. It's just an awesome contest. So everyone should be working towards that.
So from a PV standpoint, the majority of people kind of understand that you do not get any kind of compensation on your first 100 PV every month. That goes back to the company. But everything from 100 PV or 101 PV and up is basically what you get compensated on. So anywhere from 101 to 499 total PV for the month qualifies you to earn 15% total, not counting that first 100 PV. And then once you break that 500 PV threshold, you immediately qualify for 25% retroactive all the way back. So when we first started, the way that we kind of understood it was wrong, because Kathy and I thought that 100 PV was obviously back to the company, but then from 101 to 499, we'd get 15% of that. And then, for example, if we had 1,000 PV, we'd get 25% on everything from 500 to 1,000 PV and only 15%. But it's retroactive all the way back. So the higher the PV, the better it's going to be for you. I always encourage everybody, it's obviously not always possible, because maybe some months you have 4 customers that cancel or postpone their orders and your PV drops significantly. And I was fortunate to still stay over 500 PV, but not by much. So 500 PV is always a solid goal for everybody to shoot for. If at all possible. If not, it's one of those things where you just have to continue working.
Thank you.
Can everybody else hear me? Thumbs up, wave. Yes. Okay. Okay. I'll let Kathy type to Judy, who's having sound issues. But So focus on the PV, like Kathy said, not just, I mean, convention credits are great and it can definitely make a huge impact if that's what you're shooting for, but just overall in general, PV is huge. With your points. So, oh, sorry, before I go, the confusion that I heard last week is that everybody, or not everybody, a couple of people were under the impression that with your 100 PV, not only do you have to have 100 PV from your customers, but you are also required to purchase 100 PV of your own product every month. That is not the case. So I want everybody to make sure that they understand that and that they can train their team accordingly. You are not required to purchase anything, even if, you're not anything at all. Even if you're not over 100 PV, you're not required to purchase anything. You're only have to hit that 100 PV mark in order to be commission qualified. But if all of your orders are coming from customers and you're stocked up on your own products, so you actually don't need to order anything, you are totally fine not placing an order that month, and you can't do that. And you will still be commission qualified. You're welcome for the feedback on that too when Kathy logged onto my laptop. So anyways, so make sure that everybody understands that they're not actually required to purchase that, even if they have enough in customer orders, because there was some confusion on that. And there were some people that I think were commission qualified to actually earn something, but because they couldn't order their own product, they had turned their backup order off so that they wouldn't actually be charged for anything that month. And so it actually was going to prevent them from earning any commission that they've already earned. So just make sure that you're clear on that. The second thing that we need to focus on as well is the points. So I know the points can kind of be confusing, especially when you don't have a lot of team members that are on your team and underneath you already. But basically, from the point standpoint, those all come from your own personally sponsored ambassadors and anybody that your ambassadors sponsor and so on down the line. With those points, they just add up over time. If you're pushing to try to get to silver, there's no point requirement. The only requirement to get to silver is that you sign up 3 of your own personally sponsored ambassadors. From that point on, once you get to silver, you need to make sure that you're looking at your points. And as you work your way up, the points that are required to hit a certain level. So for example, gold is 100, senior gold is 250, and those are total points. So when you're looking at gold, you have to have 100 total points on your team, which you'll be getting 5 points from a lot of your ambassadors until you start to build a deeper team, and then the points will go down the deeper the levels they go. But you need to have 15 points outside your primary leg, and your primary leg is wherever you're getting the most points from. Your primary leg can change from month to month, so be very clear on that as well. It's actually not a bad problem to have if you have a couple of different ambassadors that are both bringing in a significant amount of points, because it will just help you as you continue to grow your team. But some people get so focused on who their primary leg is to start, and they've had the same primary leg for a year, and then all of a sudden somebody else grows a larger team and their primary leg changes, and they're kind of confused by that. So just understand that every month your primary leg is wherever the most points total for your team are coming from. Also, as you get, like I said, bigger, you'll have to focus on making sure that you have points outside of your primary leg, or else you will not be able to rank advanced. So for example, for those that know the name Jennifer May, she's actually on Caroline French's team. Yes, thank you, Rachel. Yes, your primary leg is not all your own level ones. It's wherever the most points come from. So glad Kathy set you straight on that. But Jennifer May on Caroline French's team, she, for I think 2 or 3 months, actually had enough points to become an Emerald ambassador, but her problem was that she did not have enough points outside of her primary leg. Granted, that's a good problem to have, because when you're Emerald, you have 1,500 points. So I will take 1,500 points all day long if it means that I'm just focusing on my outside legs. But she could have promoted actually sooner, but because she didn't have that outside leg going, so then she kind of had to shift her focus and really make sure that she was trying to personally recruit more ambassadors, that she was really training those outside legs as well. So it's just something to be mindful of. Again, don't completely shift your focus, because at this point it's really not worth stressing over that, but it's just something from a strategic standpoint, just to kind of keep an eye on moving forward. So, but if you hear about the compensation plan, some of the main talking points, and we'll kind of touch back on this after Kathy goes through as well, is that there's 11 different ways of being compensated, but primarily what you need to be focused on is the points that you're getting from your team as it grows, and your own personal customers and your overall PV for the month, because that's where the majority of your compensation is going to come from. So I'm going to turn it over to Kathy, who's going to compare our compensation plan and how awesome it is to a different compensation plan that she's seen, and talk about the differences.
All right. This is something I love to talk about, actually. I get really excited about it. When I first started Plexus, and we would go to trainings and listen to trainings, and we would hear over and over again, our Plexus's compensation plan is second to none. Plexus's compensation plan is super generous. And I kind of sat there a little skeptical and thought, well, yeah, right. I mean, what company's not going to say that, right? Every company's going to say that. And so I kind of wondered what that meant. But now, being 2 years into it and having actually looked at a lot of different compensation plans out there, and having worked in network marketing before and really knowing the ins and outs of some of the other compensation plans, I can say that very confidently, that Plexus's compensation plan is second to none. It is so different from anything else I've looked at out there. Recently, I met with another ambassador on our team. We were out having sushi, and she asked me, she knew I had worked with another network marketing company for 2 years prior to Plexus, and I worked really hard. I held meetings all the time and worked to educate people and really worked to share. And she asked me, she said, well, what did your team on that old company look like compared to your team now? And I hadn't really thought about that before, but as I started to compare numbers, they were actually very comparable to my personal team, not John's larger team, but my personal team right now with Plexus is very similar in size and numbers and volume as to what my old team was doing. And she said, well, what's the difference in what you were making? So I just got my 1099, and I was looking at what I made this year compared to what I made in my highest year with my last company, and I'm making 8 times what I was making with the old company with a similar size team and a similar amount of volume every month. I think that illustrates really clearly how powerful this compensation plan is. And there's a couple of reasons why it's such a good compensation plan and what makes it really different. For me, the number one thing is that it's not based on structure. You talk to almost any other company out there, you look at any other compensation plan out there, and it's based on a certain structure. You have to have 2 legs, or you have to have 3 legs. Some companies you have to have 5 legs, whatever it is. You have to have a certain amount of legs, and each leg usually has to have a certain amount of volume. The company I was working with, it was very important to be successful. You had to have a perfect power of 3. You had to have 3 level 1s who each had 3 active level 1s, who each had 3 active level 1s, and so forth. But the truth of the matter is, while that looks really good in a graphic or on a paper, that's not real life. You're going to have people who come in and work it for a while and quit. You're going to have people who start and stop. They'll work for a little bit and take a break, and work for a little bit and take a break. So to have this perfect structure in place where each leg is producing the same amount is unrealistic. And usually people have to find loopholes and ways around that to still make a good compensation in that plan. With Plexus, structure does not matter. You're going to get paid for every ambassador on your team, no matter where they're located. And I love that I see people that really, when I look at really successful people in this business, everybody's team looks different. And I love that. Some people have 100 level 1s, and some people have 10 active level 1s. Some people have 1 really huge leg and just some smaller outside legs, and some people have very balanced teams. Lots of legs are about the same. So everybody's looks different, but it doesn't matter how it looks, you still get compensated with Plexus. And that is very different from other companies out there. The other thing I love about Plexus's compensation plan is that you get to start participating in profit sharing from day 1. Okay, most companies, that does not happen until you reach the upper echelons of the company, which does happen again. Plexus, you get to start participating in profit sharing as soon as you start signing up ambassadors, because those pay points that you get 5 pay points for every active ambassador that you sign up, and anybody that they sign up. So let's say I sign up Sally, and Sally signs up John. John would be my level 2, and John signs up Amy. Amy would be my level 3. I get 5 points for every one of those ambassadors. Everyone on my level 1 and my level 2 and my level 3 who's active and over 100 PV. Those pay points, that's what is profit sharing in Plexus. When you hit Emerald, you get to do additional profit sharing. Sapphire, additional profit sharing. So it continues to build. But I love that in this company, you don't have to be a high-ranked person to be successful and to make really good money. Recently, when Helen McFadden came, she did a training, and I was told about it, and she said, how many of you would $5,000 a year make a significant difference in the income of your household? And most people raised their hand. And she said, I'd like all the silver ambassadors in the room to stand up. Silver ambassador is the first rank, really, that you hit in Plexus. It just means you have 3 active level 1s that you've personally sponsored, and the whole room practically stood up. I mean, that's the very first rank you reach in Plexus. And she said, you can be making that much money at your first rank in Plexus. So I love that people can have really good income right off the bat, and you don't have to wait till you get to higher ranks. And part of the reason that you can do that with Plexus, that again makes it very different, is that in Plexus, the way the compensation plan is set up, it rewards you for your hard work. In a lot of companies, like in the last one I was in, I might sell some product, but the majority of the commission that I earned was paid out to people 7 levels above me. And so I just got the little tiny sliver that was left over. In Plexus, it's just the opposite. That's why when you have customers, you're making 15 to 25%, plus you're making your preferred bonuses. If they're signed up as a preferred customer, you're getting those preferred bonuses every month on top of that. If you look at it with those preferred bonuses, you're often making 30 to 50% commissions on those orders, depending on what they're ordering. And the reason they can afford to do that is because they're not paying all those commissions out to everybody above you. They're rewarding you for your own hard work. And so I love that. You also often see people in Plexus outrank the person above them or several people above them. Didn't you just look up the other day? Celeste, anyway. The last one was just, I loved, one of the things that really helped me when I first got started is that Plexus does not have a minimum monthly requirement that you have to buy a certain amount of product yourself every single month. I love that. And also you have the flexibility to turn your auto ship on and off. Now, we don't recommend that, obviously, because if your auto ship is off, you're not earning commissions. But it is a really nice safety net for me to know I'm never signing someone up and then forcing them to buy product every single month or trapping them into a financial obligation that maybe they can't meet from month to month, especially if they have a slower start to their business. So I like the integrity of that. Everything I learned about the compensation plan tells me that Plexus wrote this compensation plan for their ambassadors, to reward them, not to trick them, not to make it difficult, but to make it as beneficial and compensatory as they possibly could. So those are some of the things I really love about our comp plan. And when people ask me about it, those are some of the things that I point out that I feel like makes our comp plan very different.
Yeah, and Kathy touched on the preferred bonuses, and that was the third thing that I realized I never covered because I was trying to turn the time over to her. But on the preferred bonuses, honestly, when we talk to anybody about becoming a customer, we always push for the preferred customer route as opposed to retail. I mean, if you're looking at it from a business standpoint, yes, retail gets you a little bit more PV, but from a preferred customer standpoint, it's actually better because you get that preferred customer bonus every month that they order. And you know, everybody that I talk to, I'm very real with them, and I'm like, you know what? It's kind of a win-win. Like, you get a price discount on any of the products that you order. I get a little bit, you know, of a bonus because you order as a preferred customer. So it's really helping both of us out. And the beauty of it is, you know, I hear everybody, for those that are familiar with the BMG music service, where you sign up because you get like 11 CDs for the price of one or something, and then you have to purchase 4 over the next 2 years, and they send you a new one every single month.
That shows how old we are.
Exactly.
We know about BMG.
Some people will get that reference, but a lot of people, you know, kind of understand that, and that's kind of the fear, is that people feel like they're going to get trapped into it. So I'm very real with them. I'm like, you know what, you can cancel anytime after 15 days. So you're not even through your first month of ordering before you're able to cancel your auto shipment for the following month or postpone it or whatever you need to do. So It really is a benefit for both parties to look at that preferred customer bonus. But when you look at it, going back to what I was saying earlier about the PV, that is why we stress over and over and over to everybody, if you're considering doing this as a business or you really want to grow your business, is you have to be active with your business. You have to be posting consistently on Facebook, or you have to be talking to people, or however it is you plan on marketing your business. You have to be very active doing those things, because your customer base is going to carry your commissions as much as almost anything else until you get a larger team and you have a bunch of ambassadors underneath you that are bringing, helping you to bring in money as well. But especially as you start out, it's the customer focus that you should be working on, because one, it will help you to grow your team from an ambassador standpoint later on, because happy customers often become ambassadors because they believe in the product. They've had amazing results. People are asking them what's happening, and now they want to start to capitalize on that a little bit. But two, as you continue to grow, your PV is really going to be the thing that drives your business moving forward. So you should constantly be pushing and looking for ways to continue to get more and more customer orders to couple with your own order to return or get the biggest return on investment for your products and your business. So
That's true too, because when you go over 500 PV, then you're also making 25% commissions back on your own orders too. So it actually makes your own products cheaper that way as well, besides the fact that you're...
So that's a crash course on the compensation plan. Obviously, if anybody has any questions, we're going to open it up for Q&A now so that we don't run too late tonight. But so feel free to unmute yourself. If you have any questions, we'll answer those. And then if you need more specifics, we can work with your upline or work with us or whoever and get you the answers that you're needing. So the time is yours.
And you do have to unmute yourself because we muted everybody.
And Rachel, yes, she just said, I just asked a friend who sells essential oils how much commissions were, and she said, I don't know, I've never gotten commissions. So Kathy had that similar experience with hers, is that she would earn a little bit of commissions every month, but she was required to purchase her own product. And so a lot of times maybe her check was like $100 or $125 and she had to place a $118 order. So it was great because the products, we still order products and different things, but it was kind of a moot point when it comes to trying to build a business when every month you're required to put all of your profits back into the company that just paid you. So
yeah, true story. Anybody? Nobody's got any questions about the compensation plan? Or any questions about how to explain things to people? You're all so smart.
I have one, but I got to figure out my phone.
Oh.
Okay, I think I got it. Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay, this is Kim. So I think I know the answer, but I'm not really sure, and I don't want to tell people wrong. But we earn 5% override commissions on our level 1's PV, right?
Correct. And your mentor should have explained that to you, Kim. So I'll talk to her because she's sitting right next to me. But
thank you.
Yes.
Okay, but is that sorry?
Sorry, go ahead.
If they only have 100 PV, I still earn the 5% of that first 100, right?
No, it's everything above that 100 PV. So I always explain it to everybody that every month, pretend that first 100 PV does not count for anything. Because it doesn't count as your PV volume. It doesn't count as your level 1 override commission that you're earning.
Okay.
It's basically like it's not even there. So that's why we always say first 100 PV of everything goes back to the company. And then, so, I mean, there's been times where I've had a level 1 ambassador who has like 108 PV and I got like 80 cents from that one ambassador. It was still 80 cents that, I wouldn't have gotten if they hadn't have, ordered or had a customer order. But yeah, that first 100 doesn't count for anything.
Okay. So how does that look in the back office then? So when I'm looking at my back office and it shows my organizational volume, is there an easy way to tell how much of that I'm getting paid on?
Not really, because that's including you more than just your level 1s. That's including everybody in your organization. So really
Okay.
the only way to do it is to
True.
click through all your level ones, isn't it?
No, not true.
John knows reports better than I do.
Geez. Kathy doesn't have her.
I didn't have any level ones that were actually going over 100 before we switched to the new back office, and I don't know the new back office very well.
Well, the good news is the reports from the old back office are almost, pretty much back to where they were. So you do have access to the same kind of reports and information. So if you go into like your compensation summary and you click on the actual month, it will pull it up. And as you go through, it does break it down for you. There should be a separate category. And I can't remember if it's coupled with your overall commission. I think it's separate. But it will show you specifically where your level ones were at and what the overall PV from them personally that you're seeing a kickback from, and what the total was and what your cut of that was.
I'll screenshot it and send it to you, Kim.
Okay, I think I know. I think I've seen it, and there's like lots of zeros on it because everybody orders my triplex, which is totally fine because we're changing the world. But I want to be able to explain this to other people.
I actually need to correct. I need to correct John on one thing real quick. When he says the first 100 PV doesn't count, it doesn't count in the sense that you're not making a 15 or a 25% or a 5% override commission. So you're right, but it sounds bad when you say it that way. It's not like that first 100 PV just goes back to the company and disappears. What happens is that first 100 PV is what is used to pay everybody's pay points. Okay, so it goes back to the company, and then the company takes 45% of its profits every month, and it pays it out in the pay points. Did you go over that part?
That's a total technicality.
So you really are getting that 100 PV credited back to, in the sense that you're getting paid out pay points. That's how they can guarantee that the pay points will never fall below $1.80. Is because if everybody who was commission qualified only had 100 PV, the pay points would be at $1.80.
Okay.
Kathy's just mad because I called her out for not training her level ones. But anyway, we'll move on.
We got to make sure
some level ones are easier to train than others. So, not all her fault.
Thanks, Kim. Any other questions from anybody?
Rachel Fuller, you have a question?
Yeah, we're just wondering, is anybody aware of a chart that shows company growth at all? Is there one of those in existence?
Chart that shows company growth as far as?
Well, there was one. Like
actual statistics of showing like total overall sales, or are you just talking about like total number of ambassadors, or everything and anything?
Just sales is what I was mainly interested in.
Yeah, I'm not aware of a recent one, honestly. I know that the big push last year was that they were projecting to be $1 billion company, but I haven't actually heard any specifics or statistics on what kind of where they closed out last year. I don't know if that's still kind of being calculated and it's going to be coming out. I know a lot of people have been asking too for that annual ambassador income chart again, because it's a whole new year and things have changed, and the population has probably shifted a little bit one way or another. So I don't know if that's something that they're working on. We can definitely kind of ask up the line on that to see if they've heard of anything or if they're aware of anything that's going to be coming out as a reference tool for us. Good question. I don't know.
We'll ask the people
John,
who know.
This is Wendy. Have you guys heard at all if they're going to start sending us updates on our convention points?
They are. I heard last week, I think it was last week that they said it'd probably be a couple more weeks, that they'll start going out pretty consistently, like weekly, like they have been before. I don't know. I didn't hear any explanation. That was on the GEMS page. So I don't know, and that's for like senior rubies and above. So there's a lot of chatter about it, but I don't know what the holdup is. I don't know if they're having issues with running the report, or if they're just focusing on other, priorities right now, and then they'll get those out. But yeah, those should be coming, hopefully, if not this week, next week.
Is that it? Anybody else?
Well, I guess I unmuted myself, so I'll ask my question. I didn't mean to, but I guess that answered my, I'm going to. So I have a few ambassadors that turned their backup order off, but they still order periodically. How does that work for upline commission?
That, it works the same. If they go over 100 PV, you still can earn points for those ambassadors, and you can still earn commission on anything over that 100 PV. If if they order like a package of Slim, and it's like 70 PV,
yeah,
right,
like
for ambassadors, yeah, $69.95 PV, and that's the only thing that orders. That will do nothing for you, unless what happens sometimes. I know Tawny Lloyd has experienced this a little bit too, where, for example, Kathy's my level 1 ambassador and Kim Reeder is her level 1, so Kim's my level 2. And if Kim was commission qualified and Kathy turns her backup order off, or she's not commission qualified so she can't earn commissions, Kim's commission can actually roll up to me due to compression. So I'm assuming you're just referring to level 1s that don't really have a team underneath them. And so if that's the case, then basically if they're over 100 PV and it's off, you can earn commissions on them if they don't, points and commission on them. But if they have somebody underneath them, then the commission can actually roll up to you if their commission is, or if they're not commission qualified, or if their backup order is off and they're an inactive ambassador. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Do they have
to have their backup order on for you to get points on them?
No.
I'm trying to figure that part out.
No, the only reason they have to have their backup order on is to earn commission themselves. Okay. If they go over 100 PV and their backup order is off, you still get points for them regardless of whether it's on or off. So it actually works out to you. And so I've actually had conversations with people where it was the same kind of situation, where I've told people, reach out to your ambassador and let them know they're at like 150 PV and their backup order's off. And even explain it to them that way, like, hey, you know what? I'm actually going to benefit more from this if you do turn it on, or if you don't turn it on. But I just wanted to let you know that, all you have to do is turn it on and you can earn a little bit of commission this month. And sometimes they will and sometimes they won't. And, if they won't, then you made the effort and, tried to help them out. But if they're not willing to do it because they think it's like a trick or something, which it totally isn't, because they can turn around and turn it off on the first of the next month. But yeah. It has no impact on you whatsoever. If they go over 100 PV, you'll still get your points.
That's exactly what I was talking about with why that this compensation plan works for you. That they wrote it to benefit you. They don't penalize you because someone turns their backup order off. You're still going to get your credit for that. I think that's amazing. And that automatic compression that John was talking about, where if someone turns off, everybody under them just bumps up a level. Again, that's almost revolutionary for this industry.
Can I add something?
Yes.
From what I understand, so for ranking up, though, you do have to make sure that even though your level 1s might still be worth points, if their auto qualification is not on, but you need their points to rank up, you're not going to rank up. Is that right?
Yeah, that's totally true. In order for rank advancement, each level has a certain number of active ambassadors that you have to have. So you could have active level 1 ambassadors. Yeah. So you could have 50 level 1 ambassadors, but if you only have 4 that are actually active, you're not going to be able to rank advance, even though you may have a tremendous amount of points, until you get more level 1s to turn their backup order on and being considered an active ambassador. So yes, very true.
But the personal requirements for each level are pretty low. Even like at senior gold, I think you only have to have 3 active level 1s.
Right. To get to diamond, you have to have 7 active level 1s.
That's it.
And if you're to diamond and you don't have 7 active level 1s, that's amazing, because that's a huge team where you have some huge rock stars.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah, who is this?
Melanie.
Oh,
okay, then sure.
I just couldn't tell.
Oh, good.
Sorry.
Just because I had the exact same experience when I ranked up to gold this last month, that one of my level 1s, her but because she wasn't part of
Hey,
Melanie,
Melanie.
you're totally
that I
breaking up.
needed,
Okay.
level ones that I needed to rank, still ranked a point. If that's not confusing.
It's only confusing because it says your network bandwidth is low, and so you're breaking up really bad. So we only caught about 1 out of every 6 words. So that was a little bit confusing. You might have to type it into the chat instead, Mel. Anybody else have any other questions before we go? I think poor Melanie lost her connection. Feel free, just make sure you unmute yourself if you have a question, or type it in the chat box.
Hey, we just popped up on our own screen. That's awesome. Anybody that's a newer ambassador, do you have any questions, like basic questions? Because I promise you the veteran ambassadors are not going to ask it because they're too proud because they feel like they should already know it. So
Hang on.
I totally swallowed my pride and asked that one.
good job. Well, you know what? When you're not trained accurately by your level 1 or by your mentor, then it's to be understood. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
He's such a tease. All right, well, feel free to ask any questions in the future. You can just message us or message your upline. The compensation plan's amazing, so you're going to want to know it inside and out.
So, and I just want to, we talked about that little chart. If you haven't seen it, recently, the annual ambassador income chart that kind of breaks it down by level of what percentage is at, what percentage of the total number of ambassadors is at each rank and what their annual income number is. I will just say, for the time being, since this is being recorded, that the report, or that the number reported for the senior Ruby level is very accurate. We'll just leave it at that. So if you feel like the company is just taking the best case scenarios and they're really just trying to make it sound better than it really is, they truly are not. In fact, I know a lot of times people even say if you look at a lot of those ranks, they're actually probably a little bit low compared to what they were earning at each of those ranks. So if that's what you're looking at and you want to get to a certain income level and you're looking at that chart and you're like, hey, I want to be at, I'm trying to even think of the numbers off the top of my head. I think senior gold is like $23,000 a year or something like that. If you're looking at it thinking, oh man, that'd be so amazing to get $20,000 a year, then I strongly encourage you to start setting your sights on, just how do you eat an elephant, like one bite at a time. It's the same kind of thing. Just set your sights on going gold, then set your sights on senior gold, and then you can reevaluate at that point once you get there, because odds are if you are a senior gold ambassador, you're going to be right at or around or maybe even over that $23,000 a year mark, because those numbers, from what I'm seeing and hearing from various people, are definitely very accurate. So if you want to be like Celeste and go double diamond, then you can look at that chart and realize how ridiculous those paychecks are looking for her right now. So when she says that she's in tears and she's truly blessed and all of that stuff, you can count the zeros and understand why she's in tears every month when she gets those checks, because that's just mind-blowing. So
All right. Nobody has any more questions, then we'll sign off. Have a great night, everybody.
thanks, everybody. Tell your friends.
Bye.